Hey everyone, it's TVC Mario, and you're here for another Bible study to look at false teachers and prophets and how to identify them. This is video number 3 in this video series, so if you haven't seen the other 2, I'll leave them linked up for you in the description section below. What we did is look at what a false prophet is, and also the fact that false prophets, according to the Bible, and false teachers are God's judgment on people who don't truly desire God. So 2 great videos, and I encourage you to check them out. Now, today I wanted to look at how to identify a little more closely what a false prophet, or specifically a false prophecy, looks like. Now, we're going to be using the King James Version, and I would just have you turn to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18. We're going to look at verses 20 to 22. Also, in the description section, I'll leave 71 Bible verses about false prophets. So if this is a study that you want to go ahead and get more into, I definitely recommend that you go through all these scriptures to have a better comprehension. All right, so now let's get into it. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. Now keep in mind, the death was according to the laws that were given to the Israelites and how God wanted them to rule their nation. Obviously, this doesn't apply today, but it still shows the severity of false prophets and false prophecies. But you don't got to go out there and try and stone them. That would be to not understand the context of this. This was given to the Israelites as a law for them to follow in their nation. But, I mean, it does highlight just how bad God takes false prophets. Very, very serious stuff. And if thou shalt say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? Okay, so check this out. So how do we know? This is what the verse is saying right here. So how do we know in our hearts that the Lord hasn't spoken? Well, verse 22 explains that. When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. But the prophet hath spoken presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. So basically what it says here is if someone claims to say they have a word from the Lord and it doesn't come to pass or it's not true, then we know they are not speaking on God's behalf. God, when he sends a true prophet, doesn't mess around. He doesn't lie. There's so many prophets coming out, especially talking about the end times and a specific date of the rapture. We know that if they set a date and we're not raptured on that day, then they have lied. They have spoken from themselves and not on behalf of the Lord. Another thing that I see very prominent in today's church, especially the Pentecostal charismatic churches, is kind of like this prophecy, but it's more like just this fortune cookie stuff, you know, like God's gonna heal this disease and it's gonna be done by this date and you're gonna be financially free by this date and all this stuff, and these prophecies don't come true, then it's not that your lack of faith or anything like that. That person is a false prophet. The book of Deuteronomy clearly says that. They can say whatever they want, but if it doesn't come to pass, God had nothing to do with it. And that was someone speaking by themselves and making themselves into God and their own words into God. So be very vigilant against that. I just had someone speak this type of prophecy against me saying, you know, and this is a word from the Lord. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of strange because I know for a fact what you said isn't true and it's based on a lie. So God knows all things. God would know that there's a lie within your prophecy and that you're speaking upon your own self. So be very careful for people that would elevate themselves to this level. God doesn't mess around. Back in the old days, we would have stoned such people, put them to death because God doesn't play games with this. Okay, so I wanted to make this Bible study here on Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 20 to 22 that help you identify false teachers. If they speak something, they tell you something, and it's not true or it doesn't come to pass, Plain and simple, they're false prophets. Thanks for taking the time, everyone. This is TVC saying God bless each and every one of you. As always, stay vigilant and study God's word to show yourself approved.